The bold and the beautiful spoilers for Tuesday, July 15th state that Bill Spencer and Grace Buckingham will make a shady Liam Spencer deal, while John Finnegan and Bridget Forrester become suspicious. Now that Bill is aware of Liam's inoperable brain tumor, he will be frantic for a life-saving treatment. Because Liam is largely Grace's patient, Bill will turn to her for assistance on Tuesday's B&B episode and inquire whether there is any true hope for Liam. Grace will admit it and give a surgical option, which is likely to include some experimental techniques and carries a number of dangers. It will also come at a high cost, but Bill is willing to dive into his big riches and pay $1 million to give Liam a fighting shot. Grace will appear relieved about the bank account transfer later, as someone appears to be hounding her about money. Can Grace really be trusted, given that her intentions for protecting Liam aren't fully pure? Grace may be experiencing threats while attempting to pay off debts owed to Dr. Reese Buckingham. Someone in the medical establishment may be pressing Grace and attempting to exploit Liam as a lab rat. Regardless, Grace appears to be invested in keeping Liam alive. This dangerous procedure could be Liam's greatest chance of staying with his girls, so Bill hopes for a happy outcome. While Bill is nervously awaiting the results of Liam's operation, Finn and Bridget will notice something is wrong. Grace's forthcoming actions will defy convention, making Bridget and Finn skeptical of what's actually going on. Even Liam will appear perplexed as he is pushed into another operation. Grace may promise Liam that everything would be fine, but he may have questions that may not be answered immediately away. The bold and the beautiful spoilers predict Grace's secrets will be revealed sooner or later, so we'll keep you updated on all the exciting developments. The bold and the beautiful spoilers for Tuesday, July 15th, suggest that Liam Spencer will be sent to a private clinic after Bill Spencer buys an experimental medication to save his son. Bill is aware of Liam's incurable brain tumor, as a result of what Hope Logan revealed at hospital. Of course, Bill refuses to recognize that this is the end of the road, so he'll be desperate when he comes to Grace Buckingham for assistance in Tuesday's B&B episode. Bill will look for any opportunity to provide some hope for Liam's future. Grace admits that there may be a method to save Liam's life, but it will cost a lot of money. Fortunately, Dollar Bill does have plenty of money to utilize in instances like this. Once Bill agrees to Grace's experimental treatment, he will pay $1 million and may promise more if required. Grace will rush Liam to surgery, which will be the first stage in this therapy procedure. However, Liam will be treated in a private facility and follow a new doctor's program later this week, from July 14th to July 18th. As for Grace, it's clear that she's not doing this out of charity. Grace cares about Liam as a patient, but there's more at stake for her than simply healing him. Grace appears to have some debts owed to her ex-husband, Dr. Reese Buckingham, thus she may be under threat to participate in this matter. Whatever the case, Liam is already facing a terminal prognosis, so he might as well undergo this experimental treatment and give himself the best chance of surviving. Liam may get one more chance to see Kelly and Beth Spencer grow up. Bridget Forrester and John Finnegan will be booted out when Grace violates hospital rules and begins making questionable decisions. Finn and Bridget will not receive updates on the entire narrative, so they will argue the matter and try to make sense of Grace's actions. According to the bold and the beautiful spoilers, Liam may be in for some wonderful news if this treatment works, so stay tuned. As hurried footsteps puncture the fragile serenity of the hospital corridor, Bill Spencer walks in, the weight of despair engraved into every line of his face. He's been informed that his son Liam, who is comatose on a hospital bed, is facing another life-or-death situation. Only hours ago, the family discovered two tragic truths. Liam had been shot by Luna, the woman Bill had recently advocated for a pardon, and worse, Liam had been quietly battling an inoperable brain tumor. India Times. Bill's entry into the waiting area is tense. His sadness is a tangled tapestry of guilt for urging Luna's release, sorrow for his son's situation, and growing fear about what will happen next. In the dim lighting, he notices Liam's attending neurologist, Dr. Grace Buckingham, pacing with an urgency that speaks volumes. Bill doesn't waste time. He knows Liam has a tumor and demands answers. He wants to know if there is hope. Grace, cautious but visibly shaken by the stakes, says that while the tumor remains classed as incurable, there may be an option, experimental, high-risk, and expensive. She senses Bill's reluctance but also his resolve. Bill's decision was prompted by Liam's deteriorating health, which had been a source of concern since Hope's heartbreaking announcement. He is not going to let his child go without exploring all options. As the tension builds, Grace proposes a daring and unconventional surgical procedure. It does not follow any recognized protocol. There are no assurances or precedents. Bill tackles the hard questions. What is the success rate? Possible consequences? Grace admits the uncertainties, but adds that the treatment is the only possible way to extend Liam's life. Cutting-edge techniques may be needed from a private clinic or off-label therapy. The poem expresses a strong desire for Liam to witness another sunrise and spend more time with his children. Bill listens, his options narrowing to either this perilous lifeline or the nothingness that awaits them all. Then comes the critical moment, the decision. He checks off without hesitation, slipping a $1 million check across Grace's desk. It's more than simply a number. It's a gamble on hope. Grace's face tightens in relief, possibly even respite, as the monies are released. But there's a flash behind her eyes, a shadow of unspoken words. Meanwhile, somewhere in the hospital, Finn Finnegan and Bridget Forrester band together. They whisper quietly as they study medical charts and surgical timetables. Grace's proposal strikes them as unusual, outrageously so. Whispered stories of covert financial transfers, dubious surgeries and frantic pleadings make them wonder. What exactly is going on here? The treatment, while potentially life-saving, could also be something far more sinister. An experiment in which a patient is converted into a guinea pig. Their suspicions grow as they recollect Grace's strange behavior. Eager to deviate from routine, anxious about fresh messages, and occasionally slightly distracted. They aim to keep a tight check on Grace, the procedure, and every detail. Their devotion is to Liam, and they will go to any length to keep him safe, even if it means exposing a hidden agenda. Back in the hospital, the air is heavy with stress. Bill waits beside Liam's bedside as the sirens and monitors sound, reflecting the thin line that separates Liam from the unknown. Liam, the epicenter of this storm, begins to awaken from his anesthesia. His eyes flicker open, full of confusion and pain. Hope and Steffi hover, holding their breath and bursting with tears. He becomes alert and his first query is, "What are you doing here?" As he attempts to sit up, Hope gently guides him back to sleep. He has a brain tumor. It's aggressive and no one knew how to treat it. The emotional burden is crushing. Anxiety, regret, and hope tinged with dread. Hope grabs his palm, tears pouring yet determined. Steffi observes, her typical armor cracked and replaced with raw vulnerability. Then Bill walks forward. In a father-son moment, he tells Liam the truth. It was not Luna's gunshot that ruined everything, but the internal malignancy. He tells him he will not lose him. Lucy's pardon resulted from Bill's decisions, and he bears the responsibility. But he's here now and he's made a decision. He's used his riches to give Liam a fighting chance. Liam glances at him, perplexed, moved, and overwhelmed. Outside, Finn and Bridget are watching the process preparations. As the waiting room empties, they discuss their findings, the $1 million check and the experimental plan. Grace is preparing for surgery yet again. Finn understands that this is not standard procedure. He's concerned, not just for Liam but also for ethics. Bridget places a hand on his shoulder, expressing unity in her gaze. They make a quiet promise to discover the whole truth, even if it means confronting Grace. Grace appears to be receiving a text message at this point. She looks across the corridor, her gaze landing nowhere in particular, but the shadow reappears. Bridget notices and says quietly, "There it is again." Finn narrows his gaze. Whatever game Grace is playing, the stakes are high, and Liam's life could be the centerpiece. The surgical lights shine brightly within the operating room. Bill lurks in the gallery, undeterred by the fact that he is not supposed to be there. He cannot leave. Not now. Not ever again. With each cut and suture, he counts the seconds, hoping his risk pays off. His thoughts stray to memories of Liam's youthful giggle and his first steps. He envisions Liam's daughters and their futures. Everything is worth $1 million, including the risk he has accepted. Cut to Hope and Steffi standing side by side. Their shared history, once a battlefield, has created a new relationship. They grab hands, possibly for the first time, not as rivals, but as sisters facing fate's brutal test. They all say the same prayer. Let Liam live. Time stretches. Machine beeps become heartbeats of hope. Bill becomes more nervous. The door finally opens. Grace emerges fatigued but calm. Bill stands there, sheltering himself with his bravest smile. Grace nods slowly. She said it went exceptionally well. Liam is awake and stable. But it is not over. She emphasizes the gravity of the situation. More surgery is required later. Tonight gave them time but not a cure. Bill exhales, relief mixed with persistent worry. He knows Liam will face more struggles in the future. But for the time being he can live. Bill closes his eyes and lets the shock wash over him. He did not only pay a wealth, he paid with his calm and certainty. But, as Liam squeezes his hand, gaze steady, that payment may be worthwhile. Bill Spencer emerges in this storyline as both a tragic hero and a reckless patriarch, exemplifying his history. After pardoning Luna, the protagonist is now willing to spend a life-changing price to avoid tragedy. His guilt is real. What about his determination? This is his signature crisis reaction. Grace Buckingham is at a moral crossroads. She possesses the knowledge, and possibly the ability, to do the procedure. But what are her motivations? That remains a question. The $1 million infusion occurred smoothly. Her unusual behavior, as well as the confidential texts, all point to hidden pressures, either from coworkers or more malevolent sources. It is unclear whether she is a savior or a saboteur. Finn and Bridget serve as ethical sentries. They detect something strange, something dangerous. They trust Grace as a medical expert, but not completely. They'll investigate, hold her accountable, and prioritize Liam's best interests above everything else. Hope and Steffi are linked by maternal love and mutual heartbreak. Their competition is suspended and replaced with grief-driven camaraderie. In light of Liam's vulnerability, parenting becomes the center of their relationship. While Luna is not present, her presence is felt throughout the novel. Her shooting of Liam triggered the medical emergency. Bill's prior pardon of Luna now appears tragically ill-judged. Every time the family realizes Luna's fingerprint is still on everything, their anguish grows. Liam lies at the epicenter, broken, betrayed by his own brain, shot by a former friend, and held hostage by dread. And yet awake, conscious, alive. For now, he is the fulcrum around which all of these characters pivot. Medical and ethical complexities. The primary debate, the inoperable tumor, is what makes the surgery appealing. Tumors cannot be removed. However, Grace or someone may have a new technique. But experimental procedures often come with a moral cost. Is it science for progress or human subject as test? Bill paid $1 million. Grace withdrew it after someone hounded her about money. Finn and Bridget's suspicions are justified. Biomedical ethics requires transparent processes, informed consent, and institutional review boards. Grace's actions sidestep these. Their gazes hover, ready to interfere if scientific zeal turns into medical malfeasance. Liam is stabilized, but the tumor remains. More surgery and therefore more risk lies ahead. Grace's motivations will be investigated. Side stories often expose alarming truths, such as bribes, clandestine research trials, personal debts, and emotional manipulation. Bill's guilt may shatter him. Will he ultimately admit to the role his actions had in Luna's violence? Will he stick to denial? Hope and Steffi will cling on to Liam's survival. But if you've ever watched soap operas, you know that tranquility is fleeting. Will Luna's shadow become darker? Will she rise again, even after death? Finn and Bridget may become the story's moral core. Their mission could uncover Grace's secret or protect Liam from immoral trials. Grace versus Finn. A clash of medical minds, one clandestine and one open. Their conflict may determine whether Liam is cured or exploited. Final thoughts. This is more than just a surgical episode, it is a crucible. Each character is thrown into the fire and subjected to pressure. Love, guilt, desperation, ethics, science, and medicine collide, resulting in difficult decisions, surprising alliances, betrayals, and disclosures. Liam's life is precarious, but by giving him a chance, Bill Spencer has opened the door to larger concerns and conflicts. Grace Buckingham may wield the scalpel, but its blade cuts deeper than flesh. It severs trust, morals, and familial relationships. As Tuesday comes to a close, We are suspended in the silent gap between optimism and fallout. A procedure was performed, but at what cost? And what happens next?